Good morning and happy Sunday as we approach week 9 of the NFL season. My name is Nick Skrip, here with Major per usual, and also Eric Mendelson from Triple Play Fantasy, the newest addition to the Fantasy Points Media Group. So, guys, approaching week 9, Major, how are things going, man?
Going pretty good, man. Last week, a little rough. Darrell Henderson came through for me, but it was a rough week last week. So I'm looking forward to week 9 to get this thing going.
Yeah, and as always, we break down some player prop bets for two of our partner sites. I did good with the Thrive Fantasy picks from last week. Had Pittman over 5.5 total receptions, Justin Jefferson to not score a touchdown. Both of those things happen, but I need to get a little bit more consistent with the monkey knife fight. I always hit like half the prop bet, so that's what we're looking to
Yeah.
do here today. And like I said, we have Eric on the show today. Eric is a guy I've known for a very long time, so I'm happy to be connected here with him with the Fantasy Points Media Group, and then on the Extra Points Fantasy show today. So, Eric, what's up, man? How you doing?
Not much. Like Major said, if last week was rough, what's the Drake hook? Last night took an L, but tonight I bounced back. That's what we're gonna do this week. We're gonna make some money this week. We're gonna hit on our picks. We're gonna be over 50%. And Nick, you and I kind of looked at each other's notes. I think that we're thinking a lot of the same things. So it's always good when two heads agree.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you are tuning into this show and it's the first time you are watching the show, again, Major and I are on here weekly. We go through player prop bets, and it's a free show today. So if you are not signed up for fantasypoints.com, they have a 50% drop off in price going on right now, just as we are heading into week 9. And personally, I'm on fantasypoints.com daily, just looking at everything, looking at advanced data. I do a lot of research for my own content on there, or I'm just looking at rankings and trying to make points with some arguments within my league. But literally everything that you are looking for is in one spot on Fantasy Points. So go check that out, fantasypoints.com, fantasypoints.com/subscribe. Well worth it. Well worth it if you are a big fan of fantasy in general. We'll start things off today with Monkey Knife Fight. So Monkey Knife Fight, if you are not familiar, very, very easy to use. You can go to monkeyknifefight.com, or you can download it straight from the App Store. How it works is you'll pick the sport. Obviously, we're talking about the NFL today. You select a game matchup, or you can look at the early slate of games, and then you pick your fantasy contest. And they have a bunch of different options. So you can play more or less, rapid fire, stat shootout. They have some fantasy options, which are cool. And then you pick your buy-in. Really straightforward, very easy to use. And they have a good promo per usual. If you use the code Fantasy Points, Fantasy PTS, you can claim an instant 100% deposit matchup up to $100. And new users also receive a free $5 just for signing up. So again, go check out monkeyknifefight.com or go straight to the App Store and throw your bets down. So we'll go through our bets today. And I always say this, if you like a mixture of something Major says, what I say, what Eric says, take a little bit of a mixed approach and put some money down for some props here. So, Major, we will start with you, man. Monkey Knife Fight heading into week 9. What's a bet that you are you're having some confidence in today?
Yeah, so I went with the early game. I went selected Buffalo versus the Jags. Did a more or less. I have Josh Allen more than 285 yards, passing yards. The Jags have one of the worst defenses, giving up 278 yards a game. Allen's averaging 281 yards per game. Part of last week, Allen threw for 300 yards in back-to-back games. Last week, I think he had 200 and about 40, 50 yards around there. So I see him getting at 285, no problem. I see him getting like close to 300. The second part of that one is Trevor Lawrence. I have him going less than 255 and a half yards. Yeah, T-Law's averaging 243 yards a game. But the Bills have the best pass defense in the league, only giving up 182 yards per game. The Jags will most likely have to run the ball, or no, they have most likely have to throw the ball because James Robinson may be out. I don't know. Did his status change yet? I know he's questionable.
I think he's doubtful.
Yeah, he's trending in the wrong direction, they said.
Yes. So it takes away that play action. So that's going to make it harder for T-Law to pass that ball against that hard secondary they have out there in Buffalo. So again, Josh Allen more than 285.5 yards, and Trevor Lawrence less than 225.5 yards. What do you
And
think about that?
I really like this because it literally goes hand in hand for my first set of picks. So I'll just jump right into that because I played rapid fire, and the first selection was having either Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence to have more passing yards, and they actually gave Trevor Lawrence a 60.5-yard bonus. But I'm still taking Josh Allen, and you had some nice points to why Josh Allen should have a good day as well. But he's been on fire. He's been ranging between 248 to 393 passing yards the last 4 games, and I think it's realistic to kind of project somewhere around that 290 passing yard range today as well. And then you look at Trevor Lawrence on the other side. What he is going to face today is a Buffalo defense that's giving up the least amount of passing yards in the league. And we've seen him struggle sometimes with his completion percentage, his passing yards, some turnovers. You look at the games against Denver, Arizona, and Seattle. I'm not super optimistic for Lawrence today. I'm not going to say he's going to completely bust, but he's playing the best passing defense in the league right now. So I'll take Josh Allen above him in my rapid fire selection. And then on the other side of that, you had to select either Zach Moss or Devin Singletary to have more rushing yards. I grabbed this one yesterday, so I'm not sure if it's available today, but they give Devin Singletary 7.5 yards for a bonus there. But I'm still going to go with Zach Moss because he's had 24 total touches the last 2 games in comparison to Devin Singletary's 15. So I think if he's trending in the direction of touching the ball more than Singletary, then I'm just going to go with the simple, he should have more rushing yards. And I know Devin Singletary's got a little bit of a burst to him and can get that nice yards per carry. But again, looking at touches, which is carries plus receptions, I like the fact that Moss has been touching the ball more. So my pick, which kind of goes with Majors, is Josh Allen more passing yards than Trevor Lawrence, and then Zach Moss to have more rushing yards than Devin Singletary for my first set of Monkey Knife Fight picks here. Eric, we'll shift to you, man, for your set of picks. Any thoughts on Majors in my picks, and then let us know what you're thinking for today.
No, I completely agree. I mean, the Bills have been one of the hottest teams in the league, and I think you're going to take Josh Allen throwing over the amount. He's kind of the enigma of the Bills offense. I'm going to go to a game, and I'm going to be in local. I live in Baltimore, and it's the Ravens-Vikings game. And Nick, you and I both had this of Kirk Cousins more than 270.5 passing yards.
Yes, sir.
So it's a 50.5 over under, which is the second highest for the week, the highest for the 1 p.m. games. The Ravens are awful against the pass defense. We saw what Jamar Chase did against them. Just living right by the stadium, I see all the fans when they get upset of how they allow big plays. And I'm stacking with that of Justin Jefferson more than 75.5 receiving yards. He had a 2 for 21 on 4 targets last week. And Nick, I'll give you props for him not scoring a touchdown. He did leave the game briefly after taking a tough fall, but I think this is a bounce back game. His previous 4 games, he's had more than 75.5 receiving yards, and his targets have been 11, 7, 8, and 14. So the volume's going to be there. And with Justin Jefferson, it just takes 1 or 2 catches to hit that over. The Ravens are bad at tackling. So I'm going with the Vikings, stack and thinking that we can hit more.
I like that stack a lot as well. And it kind of goes hand in hand, like you're saying. Kirk Cousins, good day. Justin Jefferson, a good day. Makes a lot of sense. So we've seen games where Justin Jefferson has had this season 118 receiving yards, 124 receiving yards. So he is definitely geared up to have a nice day. Kirk Cousins, I'm totally with you on that. He's had 3 games over 300 passing yards this season. I think he's going to need that today versus the Ravens. I think this is going to be a good game to some extent here. Part of my second bet was a more or less. So I'll just kind of piggyback off of Eric there because I had the Kirk Cousins more than 270.5 passing yards. We are on the same page there. I also had Lamar Jackson more than 245.5 passing yards. I think that he's going to have a day where he's going to air it out a little bit more as well, just because if we have the confidence in Kirk Cousins to have a big passing day, then it kind of makes sense on the other side of the ball. And we saw, Lamar Jackson this season, 257 week 7, 442 week 5, 316 week 4, and then 287 week 3. He's had these games where he's definitely aired it out. And I'm not super confident in the running backs in the system. It's a committee of two old guys and then a question mark guy if he even touches the field. So I think Lamar Jackson is going to have to throw the ball. So that's my more or less pick. Lamar Jackson more, Kirk Cousins more, me and Eric on the same page. This is a good day. We're kind of bouncing back and forth, piggybacking off of each other.
Synergy there. Yeah.
I like it. Major, what was your second pick?
So I went late games. I showed the Chargers versus the Eagles. I have Justin Herbert more than 280.5 yards. And I have Jalen Hurts less than 220.5 yards. So with Herbert, he hasn't been looking good the last 2 weeks. So I'm kind of going on the thing where you can't have 3 bad games and be an elite quarterback. I don't see him having 3 bad games in a row. The Eagles defense is giving up 236 yards a game. And again, I just don't think Herbert can have 3 bad games in a row. So I think this could be the game where he bounces back and get back on track. With Jalen Hurts, in one hand, the Chargers have one of the best pass defense in the league. And on the other hand, they have one of the worst run defense. So I think the Eagles are going to try to take advantage of that and run the ball a little bit more because of that weak Chargers defense. What do you guys think about that?
It'll be interesting to see what if the Eagles do go to the run, how those touches look, because I think last week off the top of my head, it was like 12 carries, 13 carries for the 3 running backs over there, which drove a lot of people a little bit mad. But Eric, before you get into your second pick, let's hear any thoughts you have on that before we cap off Monkey Knife Fight here.
No, I think that's great because, the Chargers, I think, have a little bit of pressure to to come back after losing against the Patriots and against the Ravens the week before that. The Raiders are leading the division. The Chiefs certainly seem like they're poised to turn it around. So I think there's going to be a sense of urgency to really be aggressive through the air today. And in terms of just the Eagles running backs, like, does anybody support Jordan Howard? Like, I love him as a player, but nobody has the confidence to start him, doesn't have any action, and then just comes in for 12 for 57 and 2 touchdowns. And those are Jalen Hurts touchdowns he's stealing, by the way.
Absolutely. Even as a Bears fan, I mean, it's he had his time over here, but whatever he's doing over in Philadelphia, like power to him. What was your second pick though, Eric, for Monkey Knife Fight here?
So it's Alvin Kamara less than 76.5 rushing yards, and what we've kind of seen with the trend, he began the season rushing the ball a lot. 28 in a bad game script against Carolina, 24 and 26. Now, what we've seen the last 3 weeks is 16, 20, and 19. He's been below the 76.5 all 3 of those weeks, but he's been getting more work in the receiving game. And now they have Mark Ingram back. Mark Ingram is more of a north-south rather than receiving back. And I think with Trevor Siemian starting at quarterback, they're going to stack the box and they're going to let him beat him through the air. So I don't think that is very favorable for Alvin Kamara on the ground. I do think that he probably gets at least 5 receptions. I think the over-under for receptions is 4.5, but I don't feel confident with the rushing yards, so that's why I'm going less. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, ESPN is in agreement with you because they project him for the week to have 68 rushing yards, so that would be under that mark as well. But I'm in agreement to the fact that they have Simeon coming in and he might need to have those dump off plays more than they need Kamara to run the ball a ton. And that's going to be a safety route. So I think Kamara can have a nice day because he can have a day where he has 7-8 catches or something along those lines. But I'm with you. And so is ESPN, and they got guys that are paid decent to make these projections. But
I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be close because that Atlanta defense is not very good.
That's the caveat.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Well, again, Monkey Knife Fight, go check it out straight at the App Store. You can go to monkeyknifefight.com and check it out there. Use that promo code Fantasy Points, which is Fantasy PTS. So it's condensed there, and you get that instant deposit matchup. Let's shift over to Thrive Fantasy, another partner here at Fantasy Points. Different app, same sort of thing though. Player prop bets, a lot of fun, easy to utilize. So if you're wondering what that is, Thrive, it's a daily fantasy sports and esports app for player props. how it works is you get a list of 20 players and you bet the over or under of various stats. So that they'll have a mix of, receiving and passing yards and touchdowns, different things. It's a lot of fun to use. And you pick 10 and you put your deposit down for your confidence in your picks there. So if you want to check that out, again, thrivefantasy.com or go straight to the App Store. Promo code is fantasy points, but this time it's fully spelled out, fantasy points. And then when you sign up, you'll receive a 100% instant first deposit matchup up to $100. So big incentive there to check out Thrive Fantasy. And again, you only need 10 picks. So if, Major, you take one from Major, one from Eric, one from me, that's 3. My math says you just need 7 more and then you're good to go. So,
Eric, good math.
Hey, I went to college. I did. I got my master's. All right. Hey, Eric, we'll start with you today, man. What's one that stands out to you for Thrive Fantasy?
Yeah, so I'm going to piggyback off of you and the Nick Chubb over 0.5 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's the goal line back. Kareem Hunt isn't there. It's basically him and Dearness Johnson in a maybe 80-20 timeshare. And I think, I hate when there's narratives, but I think now that Derrick Henry's done for the year, Nick Chubb kind of wants to show why he's the best pure runner. And for a lot of us, we care about fantasy points, and that's how you get your name kind of in the discussion again. So I think that's probably as surefire a bet as you can get.
Yep, and that was my pick as well there. Nick Chubb over 0.5 rushing touchdowns for 80 points. And I wrote out simply what does Dalvin Cook, James Robinson ×2, DeAndre Swift, Devonta Freeman, and Michael Carter all have in common? They scored a touchdown, a rushing touchdown versus the Bengals. So the Bengals are susceptible there to rushing touchdowns, and seeing that a lot of guys who we probably don't view as better than Nick Chubb, or maybe they're equal, some of these guys, but we've seen some other running backs have a good rushing day and a good rushing scoring day for their team versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that just gives you a lot of confidence in Nick Chubb, and he's now 2 weeks past his injury. So that gives me some more confidence that they're not just going to ease this guy back in. He's going to go back to being almost a full workload sort of guy. So I'm looking for Nick Chubb to score.
This is a division game too. He got 16 carries against the Steelers last week. Like, they need to win this game to get back in the hunt. And you give your ball to the best player, and that's Nick Chubb.
Absolutely. That's how their offense typically runs, is through the running game. But Major, Thrive Fantasy, what's one of your picks for today?
I'm going with the low-hanging fruit here. I'm going with Kyle Pitts, more than 67.5 receiving yards, solely because there's no one else really to throw the ball to in that offense. So, with Calvin Ridley stepping away, for at least 3 weeks, Pitts become the wide receiver 1 in that offense. And Pitts is coming off of the dud last week, but, I think this is his chance to get back on track, but it will not be easy with the Saints having a second-ranked pass defense. But through 8 weeks, Pitts has put up 33 receptions, 484 yards. He started off slow, came on a little bit, slowed down last week. So I think, again, there's no one else to throw the ball to in that offense. So I think he's going to have a ton of targets, and he's going to capitalize on that. What do you think about that one?
It'll be interesting to see if, a lot of people chimed in and said, oh, he's going to draw the Lattimore, shadow coverage. And,
right.
And, we'll see if that's what the Saints actually go out and do. Is Kyle Pitts capable of having a big day? Absolutely. I mean, 2 weeks ago versus Miami, 163 receiving yards. That week prior was the bye. And then against the Jets, 119 receiving yards. So can he do it? Yes. And we've seen some of the other guys have been very sketchy in the Falcons receiving core. Russell Gage laid a goose egg and just was out there running around for no involvement last week. So they're going to need him to have a big day. It'll be interesting to see what sort of, coverage he'll have, if it is anything significant. But Eric, any thoughts on Pitts? And then let me know if you have another Thrive pick for today.
Well, the thing with Pitts is, it is going to be, does he get the Lattimore shadow? Because, like we said, Calvin Ridley isn't playing. I think he's by far the most dangerous weapon on that offense. I'd have to say the under. I think just because of that shadow coverage, I think opposing defenses are now starting to watch a little bit more film and some of his tendencies. He's been a little bit boom or bust this year, and he had like 3 really good consecutive weeks. So I would kind of go on the under of that. Matt Ryan looked a little shaky last week, throwing 2 interceptions, but That the Nick Chubb was the one that I only felt really confident on because at the end of the day, we want to put our best foot forward and help people win money.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and just to add to that too, because you guys are saying that last week, not last, was it last week? Yeah, I guess so. Against Carolina, he drew Gilmore, and that's why he had that bad game. So that's why I was a little worried about this, but I think they're going to have to force feed him the ball. So that's the only reason I went over, because if they're going to score any points and move the ball, they can't just rely on that running game. So yeah, but I with you, Eric. I feel you, man.
He had the 9 for 119 against the Jets, the 7 for 163 against the Dolphins, and then 2 for 13. Like he's had 2 for 35, 4 for 50, 4 for 31. Like I said, it's just so boom bust.
Yeah,
he's either gonna smash that amount or he's gonna be at like 50 yards.
Yeah.
So what you guys got to do now is the loser of this has to do some sort of shout out to the other guy on Twitter. I think there's got to be some sort of bet going on here. Major and I had something like that.
I still owe you one, Nick.
Yeah. I've been checking Twitter every day. I'm waiting for it, but it might be too late now. But good points on both sides of it. Good points on both sides of it. My second one was Lamar Jackson over 305.5 passing plus rushing yards. And I already talked about Lamar enough, it seems like, but Major and I have talked about on the Thrive Fantasy app multiple times. Anytime you can use a combination of stats, that's usually one of our go-tos all the time. So the fact that we can combine passing and rushing yards for Lamar Jackson, that gives me some confidence, because looking at the totals, weeks 1 through 7, 321, 346, 345, 344, 504, 218. So the one-time under, and then 345. So he's having these huge days of the combination of rushing and passing. So it only makes sense. You really have to be having a down day to be under that 305 mark, just based off of everything he's done this season besides that one game. Tom Browley had Jarvis Landry over 57.5 receiving yards. Tom also had Laviska Shenault under 38.5 receiving yards. Marquise Brown over 61.5 receiving yards. So again, Tom Browley's always dropping the player prop bets. That's some of his as well. If you needed some more on the list there, definitely stay tuned and check out him and Joe Dolan as the fantasy points shows continue on for the day. But good stuff, guys.
You missed my second one. My second one.
Hey, I wasn't trying to cut you off, Major. Go on that second one.
Yeah, it's along with your Lamar Jackson. I'm going Hollywood Brown more than 61.5 yards. He's averaging
there we go.
81 yards a game. Lamar Jackson looks like that's his number one receiver right now until they get Bateman up to speed. And the Browns are ranked 15th, giving up 566 receiving yards a game. I did that all backwards. Brown is ranked 15th with 566 yards a game. So, yeah, that Vikings defense is pretty good, but I think it's an opportunity for Brown and for Lamar to link up. And, with him, he can get it all in one play. So that's why I like him.
That's what I was just going to say. I love those taking like the prop bet over for speedy people, like, the Tyreek Hills. I even hit Robbie Anderson week 1 when he had that one catch for 57 yards. He got it in that one play. Yeah. And Marquise Brown, he's had 3 catches of over 40 plus yards this year. If another one, if you include a 39-yard catch, so you can get all or even half in those chunk plays. So great call, Major.
Yeah, both Major and Tom on the same page with that one. And with Marquise Brown, you're looking at the last 4 games. He's been over that receiving mark in 3 out of 4 of those games. So I mean, he's trending in the right direction to continue to hit that receiving yard mark as well. So good call there. And again, we just went through Thrive Fantasy. If you are new to the app, go sign up today. Fantasy points all spelled out. You get that instant deposit matchup. We talked Monkey Knife Fight earlier, and that promo code to use to get that deposit matchup is fantasy points, but it's PTS for that one. But guys, good show. Good luck to everybody with their player prop bets today. Major, anything as we close things out?
That's it, man. Let's make some money. Let's go.
Absolutely. And Eric, thanks for joining the show today. Always a pleasure linking up with you, my man. We've been connected for a long time here. Eric, anything you want to close the show out with?
No, just glad to be part of the Fantasy Points group. And, if we hit on our picks, that means I'll have to come back and give more.
Absolutely. Welcome to the fam too, man.
But if not, then never again.
Then I can't show my face and I have to deactivate our Twitter.
All right. So, hey, good luck, guys, with your player prop bets. Stay tuned for a continued show with fantasy points. Stay tuned for a Bears versus Steelers upset today as well. So good luck today, guys.
Such a
And thanks
homer,
for tuning
dude.
in.